Welcome back to the Ripewave audio community, where we explore together all types of home audio systems from hi-fi to home theater. My name is John, and for this video we continue our series on AV processors and receivers as a buyer's guide to what is available in 2020. Our 10th video in this series is subtitled Part 10, 9 with 18 to 48 channels, and complements parts 1 through 9, where we explored 16, 15, 13, 12, 10, 9, 8, 6, and 3 channel processor models. If you missed previous videos of the AV Processor Receiver Buyer's Guide 2020 series, I have provided the links for your convenience in the description. Ripewave Audio has decided to group the 18 to 48 channel model into one category. When you cross the line into this level of speaker count, it may be best to look at the full field to determine how far you want to go. In this grouping, we see all processor separates and no AV receivers, as many of these models are with expansion capabilities and may have configurable slots at time of order to support custom installations. It is the nature of immersive audio that facilitates the growth in speaker channel counts to what is achievable with the available processing power. Looking at the 2020 processor by channel count table, we now have the full range of channel counts represented with all the models Ripewave Audio has been able to identify, including the 5 new models announced last week by Anthem. 18 to 48 channel processors span 2 categories on this table: 18 to 19 channel models and 20 to 48 channel models. With speaker counts so high, it is difficult to generalize speaker placement and subwoofer counts. While some models allow for extremely flexible configuration, it is best to consult manuals for each to determine the maximum format decoding and subwoofer management capabilities which are supported. Now, of course, Ripewave Audio recommends double-checking in all cases. There is more variability with these high-end processors. From this table, we see that models in this range of channel processing represents 6%, 1% from 18 to 19 count, and 5% from 20 to 48 count of the 134 models included in our study, which is actually a high percentage given these are aimed at the top level, which Ripewave Audio has labeled as home cinema, being so close to the commercial cinema experience. As just mentioned, speaker configurations are less standardized at 16 channels. With the added channels, it is easier to add front wides and more height surrounds for larger rooms. We also see the ability to manage more than 2 subwoofer channels independently for .3, .4, or more control. The added channel processing capability can also be used to support active crossovers. Hamasaki 22.2 is a speaker configuration standard developed in Japan. While Ripewave Audio is unaware of home application, there are cinema deployments in Japan that have a lower layer with 3 channels and a subwoofer, a middle layer with 10 channels, and an upper layer with 9 channels for a total of 24 channels. It will be interesting to see if this layout eventually translates into home systems. Dolby Atmos 24.1.10 is the largest standardized layout we could see being applied in home cinema. With 24.1.10, there are 24 ear-level speakers and 10 height speakers. While the source material at this time will still only provide one low-frequency effect LFE channel, it would be possible to have numerous subwoofers positioned in the room, all with independent control, given the capability of processors like the Trinnov Altitude 32 plus 48 EXT we will cover later on. An AV system controller differs from an AV processor as it does not accept signals or source devices or provides surround sound decoding. Instead, these units can take pre-out signals before amplification and provide active crossovers and digital EQ. The unit pictured from Wisdom Audio, the SC3, is one of these system controllers. This unit is capable of receiving 16 inputs from a processor which decodes the immersive content and controls output to 16 bi-amp speakers as an active crossover and supports direct live room calibration. Those that have been following this series have noticed that Ripewave Audio indicates which models support AES, EBU inputs and outputs. Given that this type of signal is utilized the most within high-end processors, we would like to provide a short overview of its benefit. AES EBU is the abbreviation of the two organizations that created the AES-3 standard, the Audio Engineering Society, AES, and the European Broadcast Union, EBU, as a pro-audio means of transmitting digital signals. While AES-3 is the proper name for the standard, it is more commonly referred to as the entities which created it, AES EBU, which products having AES-3 connections have actually labeled it as AES EBU on the back of the unit. Balanced XLR connectors using a 100-ohm cable is often used to deliver the 24-bit ASCII ID text signal up to 100 meters. If longer distances are required, the AES-3ID variant describes use of BNC connectors on 75-ohm cables for 1,000-meter lengths. The balanced interface provides the highest voltage signals, 2 to 7 volts versus 1 to 1.2 volts of the BNC connector variant. The data carried by AES EBU is no different than that transmitted by SPDIF, the Sony Philips digital interface, which was based on the AES-3 standard for home applications. SPDIF is defined as a 20-bit interface, albeit some applications go as high as 24-bit provided it is supported on both ends. The big difference is the distance with SPDIF, which is limited to 10 meters, and the signal can be SCMS copy protected. While these interfaces are similar, a converter is necessary to connect AES-3 to SPDIF signals. The general consensus is that the differences between these standards is not audible in most cases. For additional flexibility, some of these models provide digital AES EBU outputs. Unlike the standard SPDIF outputs we typically see, these digital outputs are specific data for decoded channels. This enables the ability to send the digital signal as decoded to an active crossover with a downstream DAC, which may be a self-powered speaker. These are also used with external expansion modules, which we will see later with the Trinnov EXP48. Now we will provide some basic details of the 18 to 48 channel processors. While these are generally the most expensive products in this series, they may not be as feature-rich as the mass-marketed models. Instead, these models are aimed to deliver the highest quality immersive experience by focusing on the core features that deliver on that goal. As such, they often leave out support for streaming services and other non-essential capabilities. The documentation for these top-end models is harder to locate, and in some cases, we were not able to find suitable data to fully confirm details. For the setup where the processor is either receiving pre-decoded digital signals or sending decoded signals for each channel via the AES EBU transport, it would have been nice to see a full wiring diagram to better understand the architecture and how it all connects. We suspect that some details are more readily available to their authorized custom installation partners. Ripewave Audio has studied the available resources and is presenting our digested knowledge in this section. This 18 to 48 channel collection starts with Trinnov. This time we are deviating slightly from our normal practice of price sorting order to more easily convey the story in this category. The Trinnov Altitude 32 1632 is a 32-channel model which supports expansion. While its base chassis does not have removable modules on its backplane, it can achieve expansion via external devices. This unit provides both input and output AES-3, AES EBU, for 16 channels. 16 balanced XLR analog pre-outputs are available directly on the back, plus full 32 channels via the DB25 interface and XLR adapter cables. Support for all the immersive formats is present: Dolby Atmos, Aural 3D, DTS:X Pro, and IMAX Enhance. Trinnov utilizes their proprietary room correction as with their other models. Launched in 2014, the Altitude 32 1632 sells for $29,000. Trinnov 48EXT. A 48-channel processor is created by adding an external 48EXT model to the Altitude 32 1632. This combination is unique and is the only 48-channel processor Ripewave Audio has identified. This add-on device was launched in 2018 to support the features in the base Altitude 32 processor. While we do not have pricing data, we know that the combo must be higher than the base Altitude 32 1632 processor, which sells for $29,000. JBL Synthesis SDP-75. The SDP-75 is the flagship JBL Synthesis processor. JBL Synthesis sources this model from Trinnov. While cosmetic details vary slightly, JBL Synthesis doesn't hide the relationship with Trinnov. In fact, this photo found on their website has the label on the back indicating this is a Trinnov Audio originating product. All details appear to be the same as the Altitude 32 1632, albeit there is no clear indication that the 48EXT is available through this channel. This variant was launched in 2015 for the JBL Synthesis channel as a slightly higher priced model at $32,400. Storm Audio ISP 3D 32 Mark II. The Storm Audio ISP 3D 32 Mark II 32-channel processor is the main competitor to the Trinnov-based models of the same count. Like the Trinnov, Dolby Atmos, DTS:X Pro, Aural 3D, and IMAX Enhanced are all supported. Storm Audio does a few things differently. The AES EBU and digital I/O connections are made via an RJ45 connector versus a DB25 connector used on the Trinnov models. Storm has aligned with Dirac Live for room correction with bass management capabilities. Launched in 2020, the ISP 3D 32 Mark II sells for $19,000. Trinnov Altitude 32 1624. The Trinnov Altitude 32 1624 is a variant of the Altitude 32 platform that has the outputs reduced by 8, supporting a total of 24 output channels. Aside from the channel reduction, this model is very similar and was launched at the same time in 2014 for $25,500. Storm Audio ISP 3D 24 Mark II. The Storm Audio ISP 3D 24 Mark II is a 24-channel version of the ISP 3D 32 Mark II. As with the Trinnov Altitude 32 series, the model is simply a depopulated version of the ISP 3D 32 Mark II. This model was introduced in 2019 for $19,000. Acurus ACT4. The ACT4 is the flagship model from Acurus and supports 20 channels of processing. Larger than, but similar styled as the attractive Acurus Muse, the ACT4 provides more connectivity directly on the back of the unit than the Muse. Albeit Acurus still makes use of the CAB 20 DB9 to XLR adapter to provide the balance of the outputs. This unit supports Dolby Atmos and DTS:X, but not the other immersive formats. Support for at least DTS:X Pro would have been a nice addition. Anthem AVM90. The Anthem AVM90 is the newest model in this entire series. Anthem just released 5 new models. While their other 4 are updated versions of previous models, the AVM90 processor, separate, is an entirely new introduction. What is exciting about the AVM90 is that it is likely the lowest cost model in our research with independent bass management for up to 4 subwoofers and can be configured as a 9.4.6 system. This unit currently supports Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, and IMAX Enhance, along with Anthem's ARC room correction software. This 2020 model is priced at $6,999. This appears to be a very well-rounded offering, sitting between the standard home theater options and the premium home cinema choices. It is our hope that they will update in the near future to support DTS:X Pro. Theta Digital Casablanca 5. Theta Digital started in 1986 with the goal to improve the sound quality of compact disc playback. They modified Philips CD players and evolved to produce their own CD playback system comprised of separates using proprietary DSP bass over sampling. Theta Digital was acquired in 2007 by amplifier manufacturer ATI. Theta Digital introduced the Casablanca platform in 1996. While the Casablanca processor has been updated several times, and since 2015 has been available in its 5th incarnation as the Casablanca 5, owners have been able to upgrade their hardware to be current with each generation and software release. It has certainly been a remarkable run of continuous support. The Casablanca 5 release is priced at $21,995 and supports Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, along with Dirac Live room correction, while the Casablanca 5 may not possess all the latest immersive formats, it is a strong possibility that an update will be made available at some point to address a gap in support for popular features. If you want the ultimate immersive home cinema audio experience, these are the models to study. These processors provide flexibility for expansion, configuration, and features not present in lower count models and other brands. While Storm Audio starts their models at 24 channels, Trinnov has at least made some of these advanced features accessible in lower count models, as their Altitude 32 range is available in 8, 16, 24, and 32 channel configurations. The Acurus ACT4 and Anthem AVM90 units, which are the only sub-$10,000 models in this category, bear the closest resemblance to traditional processor hardware, which is not configurable or readily expandable. Note that these are the only ones at this channel count with phono inputs. While the Acurus and Anthem processors may have a shorter life cycle than the Trinnov, Storm Audio, and Theta digital products, these are not companies that introduce new models every year. Anthem just refreshed after 5-year run, and the Acurus ACT4 has been out since 2015. If you choose one of these models, you will want to work out a 5+ year plan to ensure you won't need more channels too soon. For solutions like Acurus and Anthem that don't support active crossover with digital AES EBU outputs, there are options like that from Wisdom Audio that can intake the analog channels for post-processing. We found the least amount of details on the Theta Digital Casablanca 5, which appears to fall short of capabilities offered by Trinnov, JBL Synthesis, and Storm Audio at the same $20,000 plus price point. Less channels, less formats, less EBU support, etc. Regardless of the brand and model, when you invest at this level, you will want to dive into the details not covered in this overview. For ultimate performance and audio quality, it will come down to details like processing capability and the DACs used. Are they using dedicated and multiple processors for critical functions? Are the quality of the DACs for analog to digital as good as the digital to analog DACs? How good is their support, and how often do they provide updates? If you own one of these top-tier processor separates, I would be interested in hearing your feedback. Please include in the comments section. Did you select one of these because of future expansion or flexibility? Did you simply need a high channel count? Would one of the category bridging models from Acurus and Anthem be sufficient? That feedback would be useful to the Ripewave audio community. Furthermore, if you enjoyed this video and are interested in enhancing your audio experience, please like and subscribe to this Ripewave audio community and be sure to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified as soon as the next video is posted. Until then, keep evolving your audio experience.